The specialists are back, and we are talking about a brand new show with a very familiar face and a bunch of randos, and that is Deal or No Deal Island, the next great obsession.
I
Will
think two familiar faces and a bunch of randos because we all recognize the Deal or No Deal case lady, right?
of course, of course. She was somebody who's on my bucket list of people to meet. Actually, now though she might be because when she said that case is going to have $1 or $100 or whatever it was, and then it did. Part of me wondered: is there some type
There were
of
some.
tell?
There were definitely some weird predictions there. I mean, even the host Joe, what's his name, Joe, he like said that one's got $10 in it for sure, and then sure enough, the
Yeah.
guy opens it and it's $10. So some of that going on.
Yeah, I'm excited to really talk about what this show is though, and in whether or not we're digging it, because there's a lot of ideas that they threw at the wall in this first episode, which you're going to get in a premiere, but I'm honestly a little surprised how much they put into this episode. So I'm excited to talk to you about what you think worked, what you think didn't work, what you're hoping they'll change or anything like that. I think the game has one giant flaw, which we will get to. But before that, Boston Rob is back on our screens. How was that?
Boston Rob's always good. I'm happy to see him. I just feel bad for the other contestants, really. I mean, he's going to eat up all the screen time. That's just how this thing's going to go. And I think I'm really excited to talk about this premiere and about the format of the show and how it's going to work and what we can expect moving forward. But honestly, if I have to knock this premiere in any way, and honestly, this is like not really a big Will comment or Will take. I can imagine some people watching this might feel this way. I don't think we got to know this cast at all. Like, I really don't think I know who these people are or the players are. And there was so much business in rules in format to get through that I could see someone watching this and be like, well, cool format and cool game. I just don't care enough about these players. And so they really had to build up, Aaron, Branson, and Rob, and I guess maybe Stephanie is her name. I mean,
Stephanie, and I feel like Kim. Kim, you definitely got
you got to know, but I meant like just
yeah.
in terms of the story of like who were going to be the targets, who could go home, and they really focused on that, which I think you do have to do, and they did a good job of that. But I don't feel like I have a well-rounded cast of individuals who I know really anything about. And I'm not saying that's really a flaw. I think some people could say that's a really big flaw. For me, we have a whole season to get to know these people. Let's understand the game and how it works first. I'm okay with it. I could just, I could see a lot of people being like, we need more character. It's all game. But there's a lot going on here. There's a lot to explain. It is episode 1. It is a brand new show, a brand new format. So, like, I get that. I almost feel like, what was it? Was it a 90-minute premiere? I feel like it even needed a 2-hour premiere if you really wanted to sink your teeth into the characters and the game format. But
90 minutes is a lot of commercials. It did not feel like they actually used anything in those 90 minutes. A normal episode of TV is 42, 43 minutes. I feel like this might have been 51 or 52 minutes. They barely used those extra 32 minutes or 30 minutes.
Yeah, I think it ended up being like 104 the runtime, I want to say. So I don't know.
Okay, so a
little we're too far off.
It didn't feel like it. Well, I guess maybe because at the beginning they didn't have many commercials at the beginning. The commercials came in the back half. I was watching on NBC last night, and the commercials in the back half, it was like every time he opened up cases, the next thing was a commercial.
Right.
Okay, I get it. Like, I understand where the show is going. Let's please move a little bit faster than this.
Yes. For sure. And I think that has to do with the preview. They came out with a 21 or 22 minute preview.
Yeah.
And just like that, you don't want previews in that. So they went a long time without ads, and then they had to obviously backfill those. Yeah. So, yeah.
Okay.
I can see that.
Well, let's talk about this cast real quick then, because I do think that this is important. Who is Jordan? Who is Nick? Who is Miranda? Who is Alyssa? Who is Amy? Who is Jamil? I don't know. And you know what? That's probably fine. I do kind of agree with you. I think people who are watching this, what's interesting about this game and what's interesting about this show, and I don't know if it's interesting in a good way, but it's interesting. It is an interesting tidbit here. This show is based on a game show where you did not care who was playing. You were tuning in because of the concept. You would tune in to Deal or No Deal. I think that's fair too. Of what Deal or No Deal is. So now you're making this a game show. You're making this a competition show. But at the end of the day, what are people watching this show looking for? Are they looking for Deal or No Deal, or are they looking for a competition show? Because if you're a Survivor fan going to watch this, you are going to have the complaint you just had, Will, which is, and not that you had the complaint, but you just brought it up, of you don't get to know this cast at all. But if you think about it from a Deal or No Deal perspective, this show just scratched an itch that Deal or No Deal diehards have had for 10 years that they haven't been able to scratch whenever the hell the last season came out. So it's towing a weird line, and it definitely went more of the game route. And you can tell that Boston Rob was put on this season 1000% just to be the one who is narrating and explaining what this game is, so that at least the audience is hearing it from somebody who is recognizable, even if half this cast had no idea who he was. And that just shows now how long ago All Stars and Marquesas and Heroes versus Villains.
But don't you think people do know who he is? Because Deal or No Deal, when was its heyday? I guess that's what we should look. I mean, Boston Rob was on, season 4, season 8, season 20, season 22. So like, I feel like there had to be some overlap with Deal or No Deal.
Oh, there was definitely overlap. It's 2005 was when it premiered.
Right. Okay. So that's Marquesas is what, like that same time frame?
It was that same time.
Yeah.
Marquesas was 02. So it'd be
I guess it was 02. Yeah. So it's like
04.
It was in between Marquesas and All Stars, maybe. No, what? All Stars was
right after All Stars.
Jeez.
Yeah.
Yeah. Survivor got going. Yeah. It's the 2 seasons a year thing that kind of throws you off. But I mean, yeah. And even if you don't know him, you've at least heard of him. Because I feel like even people who don't watch Survivor, but like just know about kind of pop culture are like, oh yeah, Boston Rob, I've heard his name. And now I'm tuning in this show. Now I finally get to see him play, even if you've never seen an episode of Survivor.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So let me ask you this. Boston Rob does not go home in this episode, and we'll talk about, the elimination and all of that. If Boston Rob had gone home this episode, is this a show that you would tune into next week?
I think so, yes. I mean, at least for me, I'm interested in show formats in games, especially as someone who like works in this industry. I like to see what people and shows are doing, what they're doing new and different than other shows. That's why I was like really intrigued by The Trust, and we recapped that. Just a totally different idea for a show where, hey, you don't even have to vote someone out if you don't want to. Let's play with that idea. Yeah, so I think, would I watch every single episode if we weren't podcasting? Would I watch it the night of the premiere and like Boston Rob's gone? Probably not. I think I'd probably wait for the whole season to be out and then like find a place to watch it where I can watch it on 1.5 speed and just like digest it all very quickly. That being said, like I do think there is a lot of good stuff here, but I'm more kind of interested in where this show can go and what it can do with like the base layers that it already has, because I'm not like totally thrilled about like, I don't know, the Deal or No Deal game is fine. I think it's okay, but I don't think in any way
it's a massive flaw in the game. I really want to talk about the
I don't think it's like great, but I think they can twist on it. Like I think they can offer different things. You could offer something up in the game, offer the ability to swap yourself out of it somehow. I also do like that it's like, okay, you can go play this game and you have soul. It is a gamble. Like the banker keeps saying the word gamble. We heard the host say the word gamble over and over. That's something they're making clear, which obviously has to do with the nature of Deal or No Deal. It's a push your luck game as it is. It's a game of greed, not the trust. But there is this part where like, yeah, I'm the one playing Deal or No Deal. I might go home. But if I don't, I have basically unanimous power. So it's like very high risk, but very high reward. Like the risk is so high it could end your game, but the reward is so high that you have sole discretion who goes home, which I think that part is fascinating and works really well. I just think the nature of the Deal or No Deal game and like the math and odds of it all. I know the host was looking at Aaron and being like, oh, we got the accountant to crunch some numbers. And it's like, he's literally being like, okay, I'm looking at a line. Where does the offer go? Oh, it's a 50-50.
Yeah. Like, and here's the problem.
That's part
the biggest flaw in the game. It's a 50-50 chance almost the entire time. And that's what I think the biggest flaw in the game is.
Well, I actually appreciated the first one. It was they had 12 cases left.
7 on one side, 5
they
on
did
the
7
other.
on one side, 5 on the other. And I actually, because they gave themselves the opportunity with the number of 12, I figured they would just they would set up the game in a way where you're going to have an even amount of cases each time and then put the deal in the middle. And then we're just flipping coins. But the fact that the money is tangible and that it is real and that you have the peanut gallery all rooting for you, that they are able to actually present Aaron an offer where you absolutely should take it, because the chances are you have a greater than 50% chance of your case being lower than the offered, the deal offered, I should say. The offered, that sounds weird. That he should have taken it, but you've got everyone in your, hey, you can get more money out of this. You can get more money out of this. You can get more money out of this for yourself. You can get more money out of it for us. So I do actually like that they did that, and they could have easily just gone 6-6. So I love that they went 7-5. I really appreciated that. And honestly, if they were going to,
well, they didn't know that was going to happen. I mean, that was luck, because he's picking cases. Yeah, he's picking cases.
Okay, but Phil, if there's 20 cases and he picks 8, there's always going to be 12 cases left. You're always going to see the values. You can always offer a deal.
They don't know if it's going to be 7-5, 6-6, 8-4. That's what I'm saying. They don't know.
No, but they can decide that. The banker isn't some real guy. The banker's the TV show. He's the production. He's the producers. They decide what the banker's offering. So it's not like there's you believe there's a real banker, Phil? Is that what you're trying to say?
You're missing what I'm saying. I'm saying that this worked out where it was 7-5. 7 on the one side, 5 on the other, once he removed 8 cases. However, when he's removing the 8 cases, whatever's in that case is going to be in that case. So his first 8 cases could have all been the 8 lowest amounts, or it could have been the 8 highest amounts. Like it was the fact that it worked out to be 7-5. That is not the show ensuring that it's going to be 7-5. They have no control over that, because he's just picking numbers. And it's not like they're saying, oh, he picked 4. Hurry up and change the number in there so we can make sure it's 6-6. That's what I'm saying.
Sorry, I'm just saying, like, if you have 12 cases, you can always put a deal in the middle of 6 cases.
They're always going to put the deal. They're always going to put the deal in the middle.
But they didn't. That's why I'm giving them credit.
Yes. I get what you're saying. Yes. Okay, now I understand what you're saying. So you're saying that
if there's an even number of cases left, you can always offer a deal where there are 6 higher and 6 lower and have it be a coin flip. Mm-hmm. The show did not do that.
Yeah.
And they put the 7 lower ones so that he could have played it safe, but he did gamble and actually was a smart move because the case was higher.
Yeah.
And so I really appreciate that, because I was going to get bored of this if it's just flipping coins and people playing a 50-50 game.
Well, let me ask you this.
So I don't think this works fully, but there's something here that I like, and that they didn't do the run of the mill easy thing.
Here's my two flaws here, or my main flaw is I don't necessarily love that it is 10 numbers that are 200,000 or higher and 10 numbers that are $750 or lower, because then your offer is always going to be somewhere between $2,000 and $190,000. And after that first round, it's always going to fall in that middle ground somewhere. So you're like, by doing that massive gap, you're making it where you're never going to make that first offer be higher than what the lowest number is over on the right side. Like, it's almost, it would have to be, he'd have to pull 6 of the lowest cases or something before that. So I do think that's a bit of an issue with the huge gap in the middle, because that really makes it where when you're playing deal or no deal in this case.
But I think that works. I think that's why I think that's why Aaron ended up, like, he's a math guy. He knew, like, all right, let's just do the math right now. There are 12 cases, 7 out of 12. Okay, so you have a 58% chance of staying in the game if he takes that deal.
Do you
the first deal? Wait, that's the game offering him better odds without progressing.
Here's my question.
But they have the higher values on the right side so that you don't take that deal.
And you're over here telling me that there's not a real banker there, which is total bullshit. I don't believe you. Santa Claus is real, buddy. But so here's my question to you. They know what is in his case. The producer knows what is in his case. The person who is making the decision on what we're going to offer knows what's in his case. Do you think that because they knew he had $600,000 in his case, that's why they were more willing to offer where there was 7 low and 5 high? Because then the math does say take the low. Like, take the deal and go, because you have 58% chance, as you just it took you a long time, but you figured out the math on that.
Well, I've been
think
saying 7 out of 12 the whole time, and you seem to like not buy it. So I was like, all right, I'm just gonna crunch the number for you, Phil.
Do you think though that that's why they made that offer to him, because they knew that his case was higher and they were saying, okay, go ahead and play the numbers. And now we're proving to you that even when you play the numbers in Deal or No Deal Island, you are not going to win every time.
Yeah, I think that's a really good question, and I think that's a question the players probably need to have answered. Is like, are these offers being based that they know what's in my case already? Because that seems kind of unfair. I'm not sure what it was on the game show. I mean, you could play Deal or No Deal on a computer. You could just cycle through it. They have them at arcades or bowling alleys or Dave and Buster's. You can go play, and there is no TV production company, whether it's the game show or this new format, Deal or No Deal Island. There is a mathematical formula to offer a certain amount of money relative to what cases have been drawn that has nothing to do with the case that you've taken. So yeah, I think that's a very, very good question. And honestly, I think they probably know, and they probably try to like keep everyone on their toes. But if I'm playing this game, like if I'm Boston Rob, I'm like, okay, well, it was 7 cases that he should have taken it. The show keeps telling you to push your luck and gamble. That's kind of like the message we're getting. The banker's looking for a gambler. So if I am one of the other players watching this and I realize, wow, that first deal is mathematically in Aaron's favor, yet the case did not fall into that, you can maybe use that information, pocket it, and then when you go play the game, you can't just rely on the statistical probability and say, look, there is a TV show, there's a production going on here, and try to think, what would they want me to do? What is the outcome they want? If I'm Boston Rob, they probably want me to stay in the show. Like,
it's
you
true.
can think of it that way too. There should be some sort of, like, I don't know. I feel like there's got to be some like legal and compliance ways
the
that
short
this
guy
game
here
works, because it is a game show with prize money. So you can't, like, what they can't do is just offer Aaron $1 million every time and he's like, well, yeah, I'm gonna take it. And then Branson would be like, what the hell? Of course, if the offer's $1 million and he's already opened the $1 million case and that's the highest number, of course he's going to take it, and now he gets to send me home. That offer is unfair. You cannot do that. That I don't have a fair shot at this, and I can sue you. So they can't do that. There has to be rules here. Now it's weird that we as an audience don't have an understanding of these rules fully. Maybe they'll explain it. Maybe they'll go into it. But Phil, very good question.
Because the short guy here says exactly what you just said. And first of all, I want to just appreciate that the short guy is commenting and in the chat. That excites me. It's always fun when we're doing a new show to get people lively in the chat and excited about it. If you're listening and you made it this far, please like this video so that people will be like, wow, this is the #1 place to go for Deal or No Deal Island coverage. But the short guy says they can't know what the nerd's case is in the nerd's case, which I like that that's Aaron here, because it would violate game show rules. I think he's right. I do think he's right, but part of me also wonders, like, is it possible for them to prove that, oh, we didn't know. We didn't know what was in that case. I hear what Will's saying, and I hear what the short guy is saying. And part of me wonders, like, what can be swept under the rug and what can't be swept under the rug. So that's always something that I think will hover over this show for a little bit of it, because Flynn Masters, glad you guys are talking about it. I genuinely enjoyed it. Glad you enjoyed it. I enjoyed it too. I really did like this show. I think it really worked out that Aaron was their first person who went and did this, because he is one of the most unique characters you're going to see on a reality TV show. You don't ever see Aaron's get a chance to play these types of games. So that was a lot of fun. But like, that was where my head went. And that's what I thought the flaw in the game was what my question was to you. Was it's not always 50-50, because like you said, they actually did do 7 at one point and 5 on the other. But then when I saw that his case was 600,000, I said to myself, did they know? And I know we just talked it through, but that's where my head went immediately. And I'm curious, as we watch this show, we watch next week, whoever goes up there, whoever plays Deal or No Deal, I am curious to see, as they start to pick off numbers, if they get similar offers to what Aaron had here, or if we get a strange 6-6 offer on something where it looks like it should be 5-7 in favor of one thing or the other. I am curious about that.
Well, even And even I think if you played this game like the arcade version or a computer game version or a cell phone version of this game, and you have a $600,000 case and a $400,000 case, what should the offer be, Phil?
500,000. Will.
It's pretty simple math.
It was 445,
and it was 445. And so they know what his case is. They also know that he's an accountant. And they also know the peanut gallery is right there. And anyone sitting there, this is not complicated math. And I hate when shows do this where they will take a very simple math problem and be like, wow, that guy is a genius. Like no, we can talk about some serious cool math problems and stuff on the Phil and Will show maybe and dive into it. Like I love complicated, not super complicated, but even like some basic algebra is like fun to put to use in real life someday. I know, hey, if you're in high school, you might be pulling your hair out over it, but there's applicable uses of math that can be really interesting. This is like rudimentary. Like this is not complex. Like Phil, you just solved that math problem and you're not even a math guy. So like they have to know that $445,000 when you have a $400,000 and a $600,000 case, that's a bullshit offer. It makes no sense. But also at the same time, like if you offer $500,000, then there's nothing to go on. So it's like, then it's just a coin flip.
So do you think by them offering him $445,000, they were saying, please don't take this because we want Aaron to stay, or they don't know what's in his case?
I don't know what the show can get away with, but it's like,
it feels like they wanted him to not take the deal. It feels like
they just want him to not take the deal. Exactly. Yeah. Because if you play poker or any types of games, this is like basically a value proposition where, and I think Aaron did a good job of explaining it, but he's saying it's a 50-50 chance if the offer is going to be higher or lower. So it's 50-50. Those are your outcomes. And in one outcome, you're going to get this $445,000, or you could get $600,000. You'll never get the $400,000 because that means you lost. But he was saying we could either it's $45,000 versus $155,000, and it's a 50-50 chance. Yeah. So the odds are not weighed proportionally to the value of those numbers. So I mean, it's like sports betting. It's like a money line basically. It's like if the spread were -3, let's say, Phil, but you were getting +100 money line for the team that's -3, you'd be like, oh, that's great value. Mm-hmm. Like that's like saying you would never, you have to take that bet. You're literally getting a favorite just to win outright, and there's no counter juice to you. There's no odds against you. So these just weren't weighted properly. Mm-hmm. And it's a very, very valid question. Does the show know? I almost wonder if they did it
on purpose.
Yeah, like, does the show know? And are they weaponizing it? Like, are they weaponizing and they're using that to control who they want to go home? I don't know. I think from a compliance standpoint, it's probably better for the show if they just say, hey, we don't know what's in the case, but we're going to offer what we want to get the players to do what we want. And I think that's fair. Like, if they don't know what he has and like, okay, let's cook up $445,000 here, then it's like interest. Then it's like, okay, he has to go for it mathematically, and you don't know, because this does feel like he was very much pushed towards saying, no deal. I want to keep it to my case.
But then earlier in the game, he was almost pushed towards saying deal when it would have been a loss for him. So I wonder if they're going to keep giving these differing things that are saying to you, sometimes it's going to help you, sometimes it's not. Maybe that's a way to keep you on your toes. Maybe they do know what's in the case, but they have something in there where it's not every deal is going to be leaning towards you making the right or wrong decision. It's going to kind of fluctuate just depending on, maybe it's like you talk about with Survivor or other reality TV shows that you've actually worked on, where you say everything's predetermined. We already decided that this was going to be the challenge. We already decided that this was going to happen. I wonder if maybe they've already decided, hey, the first offer is going to be a bad offer for him, but he might take it because the odds are in his favor. And the last offer is going to be it's going to be a bad offer for him and a good thing for him to not take. Like, I don't know
because this is so specific on which cases are drawn. I still get what you're saying, that you could say, okay, we're going to split it 7-5, and the 7 is going to be anti with his case. And if the player does that, then they are showing a sign of being conservative and not, they're playing a low risk game. They're playing by the numbers. We don't want to promote that type of gameplay. Again, the banker keeps saying gamble, gamble, gamble. and they could have baked that into the rules in the game and had it predetermined for anyone who played. I get what you're saying, but I still feel like the cases and the amounts are like there's so much variance there that they just have to have they have to have their formula on like how to spit this out. But this doesn't feel, I don't know, it doesn't feel right. At the end of the day, I think the biggest problem, as suspenseful as it is, I don't know if you can be good at Deal or No Deal.
Can't be good at Deal or No
That's
Deal.
where I really think this boils down to, is you can be lucky, but I don't know how good you can be. You can turn down a good deal.
He actually was in a bad spot by picking the $600,000 case. There's only one case in that game where he says no deal and wins. Like he needed to have the $1 million be the last case remaining alongside his 600,000. It's actually worked out poorly for him. He would have been better off if he had the $200,000 case, because then he can make a good deal if he gets a $250,000 offer. At 600,000, especially since he eliminated the $1 million so early, he never was going to be able to make a good deal that entire time. And how are you supposed to game that and be good at that?
Yeah, I think if anything, it's what we're talking about, is that, hey, this isn't the classic game and algorithm and formula that the show just has and it spits out numbers, and that there's a production team heavily weighing these numbers and offering a deal that they're coming up with, and then trying to game that and figure out what they're doing and use that to figure out what's in your case. That would be the only skill in this game, which I don't think would ever make air the TV show. Yeah. So, I mean, that's tricky. I do think, opening the cases, the suspense, the helpers like opening it and like making a face and then like opening it fully. Like, I think capturing the fun of the original show, I think, is fully in this episode, and I'm here for that. I get that this ending segment is going to be fun, even if we're like, okay, it's just kind of 50-50. Yeah. But that's okay too. I think that's fine, because the format, and I mentioned this earlier, it's like the person who goes in, like, you could just look at this. You go in, Phil, you're the elimination. And instead of playing Deal or No Deal, I'm the host, and I present you a coin. And I show you the coin, show you both sides. It's heads or it's tails. I'm going to flip it. Phil, if it's heads, or you call it, if you get it correct, you get to eliminate someone else. And if you're wrong, you're gone. Okay, you lose, you're off the island. Even that's pretty compelling. Even without all the suitcases
roulette, baby,
and the money. And then you have, like, I know, we've been covering the traders and the trust, and so much as that is like, we're adding $15,000 to the fund, or we did this mission and we got 20,000. Oh, but someone took this and they dropped. We're like, who cares about the group fund? The audience doesn't care.
And this is a good one, because
this one is different.
Yeah,
this one is
now
different.
They add $600,000 to the end of this game when whoever's left is going to play Deal or No Deal. $600,000 going to be one of the cases they're playing for now. Like, all the cases up on the board are going to be cases that had been gotten by people throughout this game, which is great.
Right. And it's real tangible money that you're adding, and it's like the variance is high. Like, it could be 1 cent. Or it could be $1 million, Is it going into a pool, or just becomes a case for the game at the end?
I think it goes into a case for the game at the end.
Okay, so there's not a current prize pool of $600,000.
No. It's, you now just have the option. If he would have taken the $107,000 deal, he would have been eliminated, but there would have been a $107,000 case up there at the end of the game.
Okay, that's a little wonky, but I get it. You can't be adding that much money to the pool every episode.
But there are going to be like $3.5 million cases, $6 million cases. There's going to be a lot of cases.
Wait, how are you going to get a $3.5 million case?
I think that there's just going to be good cases throughout the game. That's what
they're just going to raise it up.
Okay. Yeah, and they were showing $3.5 million cases. So
to that point too, I did really liked how when they did the mud pit first challenge, that the lowest case was like $150,000, because if anyone's watched Deal or No Deal, that's like what, the middle right column, because like I feel like it goes 1 cent, 10 cents, 25 cents, and like the bottom of the left column is like $1,000 in the original show, and like it really takes a while to go up, and the gaps get so high. Like, there's never like a $600,000 case in the original show. Like, it goes from like 250, 500, $1 million. Maybe there's a 750.
I think there's a 750.
But there's no like 400,000 or 600,000. So I think that's a really that was a fun way to kind of trick the cast and actually set up the challenge, because it's like, if you go in, you see a 1 cent case or a $1 case, you're just not going to grab it. You're just
Yeah,
going to
you
grab
know
something
that's
else. But if you see
$150,000, you think it's good.
150,000, you're like, oh, this is going to be good. And then you're like, wait a second, there's 12 cases higher than me. That's not Deal or No Deal. So I actually liked how they set that up. Yeah, well done there.
Noah Salmon says, can I just say, I thought the episode was incredibly boring and took the concept of Deal or No Deal way too seriously. Did you think it was taking Deal or No Deal too seriously at the end of this, or no?
Oh, it's a tough one with this. I wish they were like a little bit lighter with it, but you know, they have the banker, they have the island, they're hamming. It's weird. They're like hamming some things up, and then some things sometimes it does feel like, okay,
Yeah,
this is you're kind of being too serious about
is
this.
Joe too good of an actor? Should he have been in more than Magic Mike and True Blood?
Wait, what is he? Someone said Spider-Man. What Spider-Man?
He was in Spider-Man. He's in the OG Spider-Man, the 2002 Spider-Man with Tobey Maguire.
What was he? Maybe I don't recognize him because
I don't remember, but I remember him from. He's in Magic Mike. He's in True Blood, and
it's
he's
not
in,
James Franco. It's not Willem Dafoe. It's not Tobey Maguire.
And it's not Kirsten Dunst.
It's not Kirsten Dunst. No. So who like those are the big roles, and it's not
It's not Aunt May.
Aunt May and Uncle
plays Flash Thompson.
Uncle whoever. Uncle Charlie.
Yeah.
Uncle Ben. Uncle Ben. I think it's Uncle Ben.
Joking.
Uncle Ben. I haven't seen that movie in a while. I'm more of a Batman guy. But
look him up. You recognize him. He's one of the. But
like, what was he in the original
like
Spider-Man?
The bully. He's like the bully in the high school.
Okay.
He's the one who Peter Parker fights in the high school. But he's in True Blood is what he is better known for.
Okay.
Yeah. So True Blood and what do you call it? And Magic Mike, and then he was also in One Tree Hill, but I don't think he was in that much of One Tree Hill. So he's been in some stuff. I think he dates Robin at one point in How I Met Your Mother.
Oh, Sherbatsky.
Yeah, I think he does. But anyway, Flynn Masters says, I think for me, I'll have a hard time taking the social strategy part of the season seriously. I thought this was interesting that there was so much social strategy. We see them try to pull this in a lot of other shows, but in this one, because, okay, I know a lot of people hate when we talk negatively at all about the traders. We've heard it all a million times now because Will and I will freely give our opinions.
But I feel like all the comments now are like the traders has lost its way. This show's boring. It sucks.
Because
like now it's all the comments are saying
all
negative. Now the comments are more negative than we are.
All the flaws that we saw are now coming out very obviously. I think you get that conversation, but at the end of the day, it's okay. But if you're a trader, I don't want to work with you if I'm not a trader. And if you're a faithful and I'm a trader, I'm going to try to get you out. In this game, it was very compelling because it was really Aaron's in the spot. And you know that whoever has the highest case at the end of a round will be immune, and they're picking between the two bottom people to go, which is a big brother mechanism. But you're going to do that. So there actually is reason to socially strategize in this game with every single person there. You actually can play a good game of Deal or No Deal Island without being good at Deal or No Deal. You can be social enough that when you're one of the two options, the person with the highest case never puts you in. You can be social enough that if you don't play, you don't get picked by the person who ends up beating the Deal or No Deal game. You actually can be good at Deal or No Deal Island by being social, which I think is interesting because I was not expecting that to be the case coming into this. That doesn't mean you're going to win. That doesn't mean that at the end of the day, you're going to get anything done, but you actually can be good at this game. And the social strategizing makes sense. And we actually got to see Boston Rob play this as if it was Survivor. It was bringing me back to Winners at War when he was doing the buddy system with Adam and all of them. So yeah, I like it.
Yeah, I think there is a part of me that's like, okay, all it takes is one person to like make a good deal supposedly, and then like
play good enough socially that they don't want to
send you
to
home.
be eliminated.
Yeah, but then you have like all these random people, and then you have Boston Rob, like a notorious reality TV star. It just feels like that part feels a little bit unfair to Boston Rob, at least. Like if everyone was a new player, I think it's more fair. Because then you go in, anyone can be anyone they want, and it's all about your game. I feel like Rob's whole story is going to be like, oh, this is what I did on Survivor. I've been on.
Here's my thing with this, and I can't feel bad. Pretty sure Boston Rob is getting paid a boatload of money to be on this show right now. appearance fees and stuff because he is such a big name. He's essentially host number 2 for the show. Joe is there to host and explain the rules that are part of the game, and Boston Rob is there to explain and host for us as the audience. That's what's happening.
Yeah, but like Boston Rob can go home next week.
I don't know, man. I watched
can
the
he?
preview. I watched
Or
the
can he?
preview for next. They showed like the preview for the entire season at the end of the episode. At some point, Boston Rob is playing Deal or No Deal. So until we see Boston Rob play Deal or No Deal,
Why would you spoil? I didn't see that.
I didn't spoil it. NBC spoiled it. I didn't spoil it. NBC put it out there. It's in their season-long preview thing.
Yeah, I mean, I guess everyone eventually will have to play Deal or No Deal. So actually, Branson never did.
Branson never got to do anything.
Branson never did.
Yeah.
Yeah. I don't know. I'm close with this one. I'm open. I do feel like there is a lot of fun things you can do. I think the briefcases with the money values is just a really good prop. And I think using those in all the challenges and like make some harder to get, have some red cases, have some prisoner dilemma, have some backstabbing. Like you can like use those cases and combine them in like a really physical, stunty promo shot. People getting dropped out of airplanes or swinging from trees or falling into water, and combine that with the strategic social element with these number values on these briefcases. I think there is really like a way to marry that well, which the Traders doesn't do at all. They have these really cool themed castle, medieval, murderous, vibey, spooky. I don't even know. It's got like such a vibe and aesthetic to their games, but they have no influence on the game and no influence. Not enough. I mean, very minimal in terms of the overall story that the Traders is telling. Whereas here, these briefcases are kind of determining everything. Mm-hmm. So I got to say, I really like that aspect of the show. And I think that can go places.
Clear on this show. Like the what they're doing is very clear. The format is very clear.
I don't know if it's even clear in that I have all the answers, but at least like the overall message and tone of like, yeah, the challenge is to figure out who gets what briefcase. I don't know how. I don't know what's in the briefcases. And then those briefcases are going to play a role eventually in determining who goes and plays Deal or No Deal, which we then have cases for an ending game. So I feel like, yeah, you're right. I think overall, if we take a step back, I can like see an episode of this show and like what it's going to look like and how it works and how one segment will impact the next. Whereas the Traders, it's like, it is very much more all over the place. Like this week, we're not banishing anybody. This week, we're recruiting. This week, you can recruit but can't murder. Next time, you can recruit and it's an ultimatum. And then if they do accept the ultimatum, then you can get them, recruit them, and murder. And it's like, whoa, okay. It feels like the rules are changing every episode, which this could still happen too. I feel like there's just ample room for like twists. And maybe there's even ample room for twists on the Deal or No Deal game itself, where you can add a wrinkle. So like, hey, episode 1, let's end it with a full-blown classic game of Deal or No Deal. And then that's how I imagine that's how all the episodes are going to end, in some variation of game of Deal or No Deal. But I could see the banker calling with something crazy. Like I really could. Like you get $50,000 to do something like on the spot to like, I don't know, switch somebody out. Or you can switch someone out if you get a disadvantage in the next challenge. I don't know. Like just random things. I feel like the banker can offer more than just money, or cases can have things in them that aren't just money value. And hey, maybe this is like going too far. We need to get a season through this before we kind of tweak the Deal or No Deal game. But I mean, they're briefcases, man. Like that's just a great prop. You can put anything in a briefcase. So I think there's a lot of room for fun in this one. The strategy of it, I see what you're saying. It's like you just need to be friends with everybody, but then everyone also just needs to be friends with everybody. And then what's like, what's an alliance going to do here, Phil? If there's 12 of us out there and I have the majority, I have 7 versus 5. What are we doing? How is that working? Like, I don't even know if that helps you, because if you put one of the 5 up to play Deal or No Deal,
no, I don't think it's a 7 versus 5 kind of thing. I think
not an alliance game.
Good relationships with people. I think that's what it is. I don't think you do alliances. I think you just have to. Like,
right, but then if everyone's incentivized to make a good alliance with everyone else, then it's like so.
Some people are going to be good at it and some aren't. Branson was terrible at it, and Boston Rob just happened to start off in the car with the guy who ended up playing Deal or No Deal Island the first time. So I don't know, man. Conspiracy
Yeah,
theories?
but like, don't you want people like to go against each other? I guess I think they can do
I
that. in
think you are
challenges. I think
forcing it though, because Kim had to pick
Yeah,
somebody
I
and took
think
the easy way out, but that's still gonna force stuff.
I think you use the challenges to, basically create like
Drama.
dilemmas and offers of whether you'll play for yourself or the group or go against someone to better yourself, all that, and then let that fall out. But I mean, you saw what happened to Branson the second you go away from the group and you try to help somebody. I mean, Branson's argument should have been like, look, guys, Kim was going to go for that thing and get it anyway. There was no time limit. Like, she even asked, is there a time limit? And he's like, no, take your time. She was going to go grab that thing and bring it back. I think they're probably outstanding in the sun after just working their asses, slogging through mud to get cases. Like, Branson's like, hey, all right, this is going to take forever. I'm just going to go help her. I think
Yeah.
that's probably what happened, and that
Simple
that's
excuse.
not what the show wants. And maybe that's not what happened. But yeah, challenges drive them apart. Deal or no deal at the end, which even if it's a coin flip, we can say that is interesting. So yeah, I'm here to see where it goes.
Now Noah Salmon, and we'll end with this one. How does this game end? Can multiple people win?
No, there's
Just
going to be a
one person.
champion. The banker is looking for their number one adversary. That's what we have been told, at least.
Mhm.
Someone that can be on their level. But like, I could also see like, can't a player just like go through this game, never playing Deal or No Deal, and then like be at the end? And
Isn't that the problem with the challenge?
isn't
right?
that the problem with like all these? I think the problem with so many of these shows is you want to promote like aggressive gameplay, big moves, villainy, strategy, all of this, and then that type of gameplay and style almost often leads to a target on your back and an elimination soon after. It's like, well, why like big moves? The whole big move Survivor era, a lot of people are like, I don't want to make big moves because then I become the number one target. I mean, the new era, we see it all the time. Yeah. Anyone who makes the big move then goes home the next week and they become the biggest threat. And then someone else, whoever took that person out, now becomes the biggest threat, and then they go home. So it's like, sure, we want to see interesting gameplay. Branson made a very bold move to help Kim, but look at him now. First one out the season.
Yeah. There's only going to be one winner, but I agree with you. Like, the bold moves thing is going to be hard to come by in a show like this, especially with Boston Rob. And so if this were to get a season 2, do you think that they would go the traders route where they put all famous people on, or you think they'd put all non-famous people on and test that out without having a mass? I mean, Boston Rob is one of the biggest people you could have gotten for this show.
Yeah, I feel like they almost needed a counter punch to him in terms of like just someone else. Like, even if you got someone from like The Bachelor, like you don't need to be a game person. Like, get another TV personality. I know Branson plays poker, but like, and I know our model actress, everyone remembers her from the original, of course.
Of course.
So I don't know. And then Kim was on Sequester, so people know her from that. Yeah. Oh. She's big. She used to swear a lot.
That's funny.
That's kind of all I remember in that show. It's like a bunch of people swearing.
I love that.
Maybe it's because there isn't swearing in Survivor. So when like I watched a few episodes, it was like, yeah.
Your poor ears, Will. I'm so sad.
I couldn't handle it. I'm like, this is a family show, as Jeff says. This is for families.
Yeah. Will doesn't have time for such negativity. You have anything else you want to say about Deal or No Deal Island?
I'm here for it. I want to get to know the cast better. I know Phil and I like to talk about the formats, the games, how these shows work. I know a lot of people watch these shows for the people and not necessarily the game. So sorry for you, quoting Jeff Probst there. If that is your, if that's why you're watching these shows. If you're watching Deal or No Deal for the cast, you might not watch episode 2. But I think give the show time, give the cast, give the other players from the cast besides Aaron, Kim, and Rob and Branson. Branson's gone to like, I'm not out on the cast. I just don't know them yet. So I think that's what I'm looking for. Can this cast step up? And then can the format deliver in a way that feels kind of like satisfying and not just like luck or production interference? So
I feel that.
That's where I'm at.
I feel it. All right. Well, I'm ready to watch it next week. Like, I really am. I'm excited for it. I enjoyed it a lot more than I thought I was going to. When you had originally said, maybe we should podcast Deal or No Deal Island, I thought that was so stupid. But I'm glad we did. And I think it's going to be fun. I think it is going to be
I'm
fun.
full of stupid ideas, man. That's what I do.
Sometimes they work out, man. Hey, I think this ended up working out. So we will be back tomorrow. Well, I'll be back tomorrow. For those of you who are listening to this, actually, I'll be back at 1:15 a.m. Thursday morning for the Survivor 46 premiere recap. As crazy as that is, unfortunately, Will is unable to make that. So it'll be Blake and I. Will is gonna,
man, I think
know.
I can make it. Phil just told me he had to sit down with me. He's like, hey man, you've been doing great, but Blake is just delivering on all fronts on Patreon, so we have to get Blake involved more. So we're gonna actually give the premiere shot to Blake, and I'll ride the bench, man. I'm ready. If Blake stubs a toe or something, I can pop in. But yeah, you guys can tackle.
You're just gonna be chanting, rooting for him to get hurt.
I'm just a bench warmer at this point. I'll just come in when I'm needed. I'm playing for the team. I'm playing for the specialist team. If Blake and you really believe that's going to make the best podcast, then that's what I want the specialist to just win. So
all I know is Will better be back for episode number 2. That's all I know. So we'll be back with that at some point.
Is Blake not free that next week?
Will knows. Don't confuse everybody. Don't confuse everybody and make them think it's not Phil and Will again, because then you're going to get people unsubscribing and shit. So don't do this.
Right.
Don't do this. They're going to be like, we don't want to listen to Blake.
Also, if you haven't checked out my bootless video, I made a bootless video. Phil put one out, so I was like, I got to come out with my own bootless video. So definitely check my boot list out too, and we can see who will nail it better.
Yeah, yours is pretty good. You definitely put a little bit more time into yours than I put into mine.
Yes, I tried to keep the video length the same, if not exactly the same, but I did really do, I think, more research on, just more work in the lab, studying, even though the end product is the exact same length.
Yeah. It just worked out that way. Good for you. I'm glad it did. All right, that's it. Nonsense over. Game over. Will, go enjoy your birthday. Everybody else, see you later.
See ya.